Oh my Lanta girls, is that Paco over there? Hi there, sugar. I'm the Blanche.
I'm the Dorothy.
And I'm the Rose, and we're the Golden Gaze NYC.
Now guess what? Gary Green just wanted us to read this script. It's 10:30 a.m. and time for coffee and headlines for Puerto Vallarta's English-speaking community.
Add a Q to your comments if you have a question. And then N if you're new to our cluster.
Joining you live 2,000 miles from St. Olaf, Florida, welcome Paco and Luna. But before we welcome them, here's a super special video for you. Hit it, Dorothy!
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true, you're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gifts would be from me, and the card attached would say, thank you for being a friend.
And that happened. I am Chick. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Headlines. I want to thank Gary Green, our dear member of our cluster, for connecting us with the wonderful Golden Gaze from New York City for that hysterical intro to our daily broadcast. This was completely fun and wonderful and unexpected. Thank you so much for that. Gouda Gabor, you have your work cut out for you, dear. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Headlines, our daily get-together where we exchange headlines and tips and ideas and news and all kinds of information that can help us have a better life here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals. Matthew says, well, that was a surprise. Tell me about it, Matthew. Totally unexpected, but I was so very happy to see this. We don't know if the Golden Gays are scheduled to come to Puerto Vallarta at any point or not, but I am extremely grateful. And we will be sending them, Luna and I will be sending them a little bit of information about what we do and all that good stuff. Carmen is in the house. Carmen, I hope that you are getting a lot of subscriptions for the tamal cooking class. We'll be talking about this later on in the show because we're going to continue with our countdown to Dia de la Candelaria. Where is my tamal icon? It seems to have disappeared. But anyhow, we will be continuing to talk about this all this week. We have not a lot of news to share today, but we have interesting news to share today. Some news that have to do with something that is starting to make noise north of the border, which is wearing 2 face masks instead of 1. We also have news about a local kerfuffle between the Catholic Church and a gay-owned restaurant bar that are going face to face with one another in a very Puerto Vallarta way. I'm going to give you the blow by blow, no pun intended, on that situation, and a couple of other bits of juicy information uh, to make you get in touch with what's going on. James asked a question: why make your own tamales when there are so many wonderful places where you can get them made for you? Well, it's like asking why cook at home when you can eat at a restaurant. Some people enjoy shopping for food, other people enjoy sitting at a restaurant and ordering it. Other people enjoy making their own food. So I say, if there are people that enjoy cooking their own food, we should all be grateful, James, that lovely chefs like Carmen and her counterpart are setting up a course for anyone that wants to learn how to make the tamales themselves to do so. Let me take a quick look to see who's in the house, just to see that Jill is in the house, El Centro's in the house. It's great to see you. Cliff is joining us from San Diego. As you know, and as the Golden Girls told us, if you are new to this cluster, it helps if you add the letter, well, that was a new variant on our guidelines. Add the letter N if you're new, or add the letter Q if you want to share something really important during the broadcast. And here's Gary. Gary, thank you so much for orchestrating that wonderful intro. It was totally unexpected. As you know, we welcome any member of our community, whether you're a business or you just happen to have time in your hands and a camera or an iPhone in front of you, to send us a little message or send us a welcome to Coffee and Headlines. We will be happy to share it with everybody. Just keep it clean. Otherwise, Facebook might not might not be pleased. John is back from Merida. I've always wanted to visit Merida. I hope you had a good trip over there, John. And let's see what else we have. Boom, ba-dum, bum, 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 beam. This is fabulous, says David. And love these gals, say Bronica. This is wonderful. Thank you so much. Live from St. Olaf, Florida. Yes. I don't know if you've ever seen Rue, I cannot even say her last name. McLachlan, I think, is the name of one of the Golden Girls. There is a recorded version made for television of Nonsense, and she plays the main nun, and she is absolutely hysterical in it. Judy says, I'm getting so creative. Actually, Judy, is not me. This came as a complete and unexpected and wonderful surprise. Anything that helps us start our day with a smile is more than welcome. Dan, so glad to see you. Let's see what else. Can you hear that sound? If you can hear that sound, that's my toilet singing. I have a singing toilet. If you don't hear that sound, pay no attention to that. Corina asks, any news about the buses that were on fire yesterday behind Chedraui? Corina, this is first news to me, and I did not see any headlines about this in this morning's stuff. Let's see. James says, add the letter Q if you're queer. Well, not necessarily, James, because we're not expecting people to add the letter J if they're Jewish, or add the letter H if they're horny. So, I'm happy to have people just add the letter Q if they have an important question that we can address during the broadcast. Let's see. How are you guys getting banned from Facebook? This is a mystery to me. I've never been banned from Facebook, and it's fascinating to me that Facebook bans people. James asks, did I get my singing toilet on Amazon? No, it's just old rusty pipes. What can I tell you? Fernando, mwah, great to see you from Mexico City. You guys are getting creative, adding the letter N if we are nude. I confessed the other day that at least once in the last 10 months that we've been doing Coffee and Headlines, I was naked from the waist down, but that's information that you didn't need to know. So that's why we don't have a letter N. If we are nude, if we decide to go nude during Coffee and Headlines, we simply are nude. No need to add a letter to that. Anyhow, here we are, and I see a welcome Robert. Who is Robert, and did I miss a new person? If I missed a new person, Robert, I will find you, and I will give you a proper, oh, there it is. Hold on, I just saw it. Where did it go? Oh, there's an N. Hello, Robert. Welcome to Coffee and Headlines. This business of calling them N for new I'm going to have to get used to that. Anyhow, let us get started with the news because we have some stuff to unpack this morning. So here we go. Oh, do people say too much information? Well, promise I won't do it again. Next time I'm broadcasting nude, I will not let you know about it. So there, and here are the news. And how bad it would be that I had to get up in an emergency and that you caught me all naked. No, don't worry. I'm never nude. I'm always wearing my shorts. So, a trend that I started reading about last night on the internet is this business of double masking to prevent catching these new, more contagious variants of coronavirus. That is not something that makes me happy because I hate wearing my face mask. It makes it difficult to breathe. So the thought of wearing two of them sounds unbearable, but I have this article about it from Huffington Post that I'm going to share, and that gives us some guidelines as to what kind of masks would work if we do this. And we have a second article about this from Anthony Fauci himself, where Fauci says, it is common sense to wear two masks to stop the spread of COVID-19. Here's how to do it. Now, do we have to start wearing two masks? It's a personal choice. I, myself, am not wearing two masks, but I will definitely want to read these two articles just to get better informed and make sure that I'm taking the best possible care I can of myself and those around me. Now, completely shifting gears, is that next? Oh, no, not yet. I have another headline before we continue. A few days ago, we remarked on the fact that the new candidates for the mayor of Puerto Vallarta and for local deputies and federal deputies are starting to happen. And one of the people that we thought might be running for mayor was Luis Munguia. And of course, even before he confirmed his campaign, we started seeing all these little banners and billboards plastered all over the city with his face. Yes, he's handsome, but yes, he's controversial. He's not one of my favorites. And that's okay, because now it turns out that the party himself has decided, the Movimiento Ciudadano or Citizens Movement Party has decided that Luis Ernesto Munguia is not going to represent the party as a candidate, not for a mayor and not for a federal deputy. So this is one of those sad and bemusing examples in which politicians throw a lot of money out the window. I've seen a bunch of these billboards all over the place, and now it turns out that they are good for nothing. Will the party take the time to take them down? Probably not. So we can expect that for the next few months, you're going to have the smile of Luis Munguia smiling at you wherever you go around the city, and it will mean absolutely nothing. Now, shifting gears entirely, let us talk about this new restaurant bar called Candy Bar, Candy something, that is or was or will be, I'm not sure, scheduled to open right across from the Holy Cross Church behind Farmacia Guadalajara in Colonia Emiliano Zapata. The venue used to be a very popular restaurant bar, and apparently it was sold or it must have been rented, or otherwise it's now run by a group of people that intend to run it as a restaurant bar. But we don't know exactly if the place is gay or not. But everything seems to indicate that it is. But the bottom line about this news item is that the church across the street was, of course, not very happy to have a gay establishment across the street. And they started making noise about this way back in November. And I'm just going to show you the headlines because I will start by saying, this is a disclaimer, I don't know the people that are building this project. I don't go to church at that church. I can only tell you what I see based on what I've read. So let us start with some of the headlines that started circulating yesterday. Yesterday morning, churchgoers and members of the neighborhood went out and demonstrated against the fact that this new venue was opening across the street. And the headline says, "Shut down, shut down, shut down. Demand the neighbors to the authority regarding the bar located across the street from the church." And another headline says, and this puts the permits division of the local government in hot water, because according to the neighbors, they tried to reach out to Mayor Davalos and the reglamentos department way back in November, and they never responded. A third headline goes on as far in that this is unfortunately the state of news reporting here in Puerto Vallarta. This one says that Candy's Bar promotes prostitution. How horrible to actually say that and not back it up. This article has less than 200 words and puts out this very strong accusation based on statements that were made by the neighborhood. And I saw a live video of the demonstration, and oh my gosh, your comments are getting really, really ouch, Brian. Ooh. Well, okay, we'll get to your comments in a second. So anyhow, there's that, and then there was another headline here, and that says Candy's has permit to operate only as a restaurant bar, said Victor Manuel Bernal. Victor Manuel Bernal is the coordinator of the staff of the mayor that handles these types of affairs. He came to the church and he clarified that the restaurant bar has had a permit for years, and the people that are running it now are simply running it from the same permit. And finally, this other one that says that authorities reached out and took care of the concerns of the neighborhood. According to this final article, people from the city hall met with the church priest Esteban Salazar Gonzalez and committed to making sure that the venue continues to happen, to operate only as a restaurant bar, and that the city's permit department would be vigilant to make sure that the venue indeed operated as such and not just as a bar. I personally got curious about this situation, and I went back and revisited this very generous article that Out and About published about the venue. This was dated January 23rd, when the venue had just opened or was about to open. And it is described as a new LGBTQ bar and restaurant in Zona Romantica that has something for everyone, with its owners wanting everyone to feel welcome and to come and taste the rainbow. And we know from this article that this is a project by three gentlemen of foreign extraction: Kevin Bryant, Darren Rivaux, and Larry Hackett, and a local gentleman, a native of Puerto Vallarta, named Omar Ibares Lopez. And then I wanted to show you the Facebook page for the venue, but then of course the Facebook page which was working fine last night, is not working this morning. And the website also had a more lengthy description of what the place was all about. And now it just has this one window. Now, what does this all mean? And I guess from your comments, oh dear, this is going to be a dicey coffee and headlines, because let me take a look at at all of your comments actually, because I think the way we react to these kinds of news may be, I dare say, part of the problem and not part of the solution. Let's see. Where did we start? Da dee da 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 da. Here we go. Is that where Hacienda Carlota was? Yes, William, that is where Hacienda Carlota was. Absolutely. Oh, they were remodeling that place in December, Candyland, formerly Hacienda Carlota. Yes. It is open for business. Alan tells us that food was not good there. Are you talking, Alan, about this new operation or about the old one? I think that is important. Let's see. Brian dumps a big one. What a hypocritical load of hogwash. Maybe the church is the building that should shut down and go away. Um, I am not going to agree or disagree with you, Brian, but I do have to say that your comment reminds me so much about the problem that is inherent with these kinds of situations. Number one, I wonder if the new venue owners made an honest attempt to reach out to the community around it, to the neighborhood, and say, hey, here we are, we welcome you, this is who we are, et cetera, et cetera. Along the same lines, I wonder if the people from the church community that made accusations that had to do with prostitution and so forth and so on even bothered to step into the venue to see what it is about. But Brian, with all due respect, to describe a situation about which we know so little, unless you are privy to information that we don't have, and go ahead and describe this as a hypocritical load of hogwash, that's tricky. It's particularly when you're doing that in English. And this goes to the second part of the concern that I personally have. When I looked at the Facebook page, and this is not even about whether the place should be operating right now or not, given the current guidelines, or whether it is a gay bar or a restaurant or straight or whatnot. When I walked into their Facebook page and seeing that the website is all in English, sometimes I wonder if businesses that don't advertise in Spanish or communicate in Spanish are, number one, alienating themselves from the country that has welcomed them, and number two, just missing a great opportunity to welcome everyone to their establishment. So for us to be sitting here and making such strong comments against the church, I'm not religious, but I don't know that I would want to be I don't want that I want to be throwing stones like that without knowing all the facts. And again, I'll be the first person to say that I am just reporting based on what I know. I don't know the owners of the project. I don't know the people from the church. Michael says, my bedroom is 12 feet away from the candy bar. They soundproof well, but let's see when it's open till 4 a.m. Actually, I noticed that their hours say that they're only open until 10 p.m. But here's another situation. And this happens in other bars in town. I mean, if you are going to operate like a restaurant bar, you'd think you want to put photographs of your menu, of the food that you're going to be serving on social media. This could be an oversight. And for all I know, they're working really hard at translating all their information to Spanish. But, take Chachalaca Bar, for example, who is operating their kitchen as well. I see photos of them posting the food that they offer and so forth and so on. So, if the owners of this venue are really thinking of running a restaurant bar, I can't wait to see what kind of food they're going to offer. If, on the other hand, they are disguising themselves as a restaurant bar, but just wanting to run as a bar, just tell us the truth, just be clear about it and so forth and so on. Let's see. La, 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 la. But I was told bars and clubs were supposed to be closed. Yes, William, you're absolutely right. And this is correct. So it's very strange that this is happening. And if they are indeed a bar, it's very strange that they chose to start operating in the middle of a restriction period in which bars are not supposed to be operating again. So as far as that is concerned, the government has every right to go over there and take a look and shut them down if they are not operating the way they should be operating. Sean says prostitution. What was the address again? That's funny because I think there's prostitution going on in just about every nighttime venue, whether it's gay or straight. There's always somebody that is buying and there's always somebody that is selling. So again, if the owners of this venue are running prostitution, they'd be really, really foolish to be running prostitution blatantly at a venue that is located across the street from a church in a country that is largely Catholic, in the most Catholic state of the country, which is Jalisco. Let's see. Maybe the church should stop with the early morning cannon blasts if they're concerned about noise. Well, that's one of the interesting things that the church brought up against Los Gringos. And I must say that watching a live video with a bunch of locals referring to the English-speaking community with hatred and as Los Gringos is also troublesome because it makes you wonder, well, are Los Gringos making enough of an effort to become part of the fabric of the city or not? And are the local Mexicans really making an effort to get to know Los Gringos better? But the bottom line, William, we know when the local church started complaining about the fact that they can no longer play their bells because Los Gringos get upset, then one has to wonder, who the fuck are Los Gringos to come and tell the local church what to do because they're building condos around the church? The church was here before you, William, and many of the gringos were there. So, it's, do you want to complain about your surroundings or do you want to try to work with them? Candy has been doing a lot of promotion via the LGBTQ plus community. Yes, they have, in English. Let's see what else. If hypocrisy was an illness, a lot of people would be on life support. I think it would be wise not to accuse the people of Colonia Emiliano Zapata of intolerance. It's rather a church people matter. Maybe, Alain, maybe not. See, we don't know that as a fact. I don't represent the people from Colonia Emiliano Zapata. All I saw was a bunch of locals in Spanish going against the English-speaking community. And I just think that's sad because it's a missed opportunity to get to know a different community. Let's see what else. Thank you very much for that, Brian. And again, I think, and this is not about you, Brian. It's about all of us. It's about all of us and our unfortunate habit of jumping to conclusions without having all the facts. And we see that happening on social media a lot. And that's why yours truly has shied away lately of paying a lot of attention to a lot of Facebook pages and groups, because I see a lot of this behavior. So rather than pointing out the fact that the church is going against this particular venue, I wanted to talk about this more from the point of view of, what are we doing to bridge our communities You know, what are the English speaking folks doing to get to know the Spanish speaking folks better and vice versa? What are the straight community members doing to get to know the queer community members better and vice versa? And I think that is at the bottom of what I'm trying to convey here. If it is going to be a bar, when the bars are open, I'd love to go check it out. Maybe it's going to be wonderful. If it's going to be a restaurant, you know, I'm a foodie. I'll go and check it out. But, you know, let's see what else is going on here. John says, I live across the street on Aguacate. No outreach was made to us or to Cisneros restaurants next door. Not concerned about the restaurant bar, at least at this point. We are going to check it out. And you see, I hate to make a comparison. One of the beautiful things about restaurants here in Puerto Vallarta is that they, here in Versalles, is that they go and check out everybody's restaurant, or many of them do. I've seen friends of mine that own one restaurant having dinner at another, you know, inviting people back and forth. I mean, there's a certain sense of unity and group promotion that would be wonderful to see in these kinds of situations. Why is Jalisco the most Catholic state? Because that's what the census says. It's not because I say it. It's what the census indicates, or maybe because the Lord made it so. What can I tell you? Let's see. Sylvie thinks, bingo, Paco, and please attempt to learn the language. Well, you know, even if you don't know the language, you know, if you're a business owner in this town, you know, at least have the courtesy of hiring someone who will at least know the basics of how to represent your business in Spanish, should a Spanish-speaking person walk into your business. Mind you, I am talking about all these things when what I do is a broadcast in English for English-speaking people. But, you know, who am I to be criticizing? Well, at least here at Coffee and Headlines, we're trying to create bridges between the English-speaking community and the local Spanish-speaking community and the local culture and so forth and so on. So I'm trying to be mindful of the fact that I'm commenting on something that I could be seen as guilty of doing myself. Let's see. Prostitution and hospitality, the two oldest professions in the book. Candy Bar has a local partner, if I heard you correctly. Yes, you did, and he was identified as a gentleman that has been involved in the local nightlife entertainment industry for many years. So again, for all I know, they are working on their Spanish website, and they're going to be wonderful. I mean, so you see, here's a perfect opportunity for the venue to prove everybody wrong by putting out a beautiful website in two languages, by putting out a scrumptious menu that we can all be happy about, and not so much about the publicity that they've been doing. Michelle Craigan says, let's move on. I say, Michelle, get comfortable, drink your coffee. We're almost done. Let's see. Unless you're in a hurry, Michelle. If you're in a hurry, I'm sorry to say that we're still going through comments, and we will continue to go through comments for a little while longer. Let's see. Rita, you nailed it. Always seems like such a contradiction that people choose to visit or live in a culture different from their own and then proceed to try to change it. Yes, absolutely. There's at least another project of a new gay bar that I've read about that is coming. And of course, all the publicity is in English. Even the name of the bar, I think, is in English. So this is always sad. This is always thought-provoking. Let's see. Okay, so now we are done with your comments. Now we can move ahead to other headlines, including the fact that what we reported yesterday about Mexican President Enrique Alfaro tested, not Enrique Alfaro, would be our governor, hello, that Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador tested positive for COVID-19. This was reflected on PBS last night. So if you want to read more about this, you are welcome to do that. And of course, the good thing is that the article from yesterday mentioned other names, the names of Marcelo Ebrard, our Foreign Affairs Chancellor, who has tested negative. And the article also mentions our Secretary of Government, Interior Secretary Olga Sanchez Cordero, who is now representing the president in all his affairs. She also has tested negative for COVID-19, and this is a good thing. What else do we have? Oh, I'm skipping into the leisurely section without thinking about it. So let me very quickly the weather. That's what I'm trying to say. I haven't even turned it on. So let me turn the weather on so that we can enjoy it. Here we go. And the weather is 22 degrees, feels like 24 degrees. That is the equivalent of 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Our humidity is high, it's 67%. I love snarky weather. Says today is the perfect day to get rid of your skinny jeans. We both know you'll never fit in them again. Oh, isn't that the truth? I have so many clothes that I have in my closet. Well, let's not even get into my closet or my clothes for that matter. The weather forecast for today is partly cloudy through the day. High temperature of 24, low temperature of 15. Tomorrow is going to be clear throughout the day with a high temperature of 27, low temperature of 18. And Thursday, it's going to be partly cloudy with a high temperature of 30, low temperature 19. And there you have it. That's our weather. And moving on to other headlines that I have. Yesterday, we reported on, as part of our mindless new coverage or useless new coverage, we reported about the new Lord Mis Zapatos, or Lord My Shoes. This is a gentleman that tried to abuse his privilege or overuse his privilege by insulting some policemen that went to raid his illegal party, and by saying them, I wouldn't even kick your car because my shoes are more valuable than the car. This gentleman was wrongly identified as a high-ranking politician in Mexico, but he has now been identified as being a gentleman by the name of Adrian Leal. He's a publicist and responsible for a business called Chocolate Creativity and Innovation. He has businesses with the Mexico City subway doing all their promotional information. But, now that he has been properly identified, we can see that his life will be made a little miserable by citizens that will no doubt continue shaming him until a new lord or a new lady comes into the picture. Why do we do that in Mexico? Well, it's part of the culture, and that's just the way it goes. I also want to let you know that February 1st, which is coming up, this coming February 1st, is going to be a holiday in Mexico. So just keep that in mind. This article has useful dates that are coming up in the next few months of official holidays in Mexico. If you run a business or if you want to know when to stay home because people are going to be out and about, this is going to be an article that you may enjoy. And then I found this fascinating article. I remember last year as COVID-19 was starting that the nice lady from the Census department came to do the census and asked me a number of questions. And of course, this was early on in the pandemic. I still didn't know exactly whether I should let her into my house or not, and so forth and so on. But the bottom line is that the census have been conducted, and the numbers from the census reveal fascinating things about Mexico that you may not even know. For example, the population of Mexico is now 126 million people, which is more than the 114 million people that we were last year in the last census. The average age in Mexico went up to 29 years of age, whereas it was 26 in 2010. So our average age has increased. The average level of education is now 9.7 years, which would be third year of junior college or third year of high school. And that increased as opposed to 8.6 years 10 years ago. Um, we also learned that 76% of men and 49% of women of 12 years of age or older work. They have a job. Um, the amount of people that speak an indigenous language in the country increased from 6.9 million to 7.4 million. And this is really interesting. The access to internet access in Mexico went from 21% to 52% in the last decade. Or another way to look at this is that in Mexico, only 52% of the population has access to internet access. Access to internet access. So, when we wonder why the local population doesn't seem to pay much attention to things that we read on the internet, it is easy to take for granted that the population, like you and I, are sitting, enjoying broadband at home and enjoying videos and so forth and so on, when the reality is that 48% or a little less than half of the population does not even have access to the internet. So for anyone that gets truly impatient as to why locals or Mexicans are not following certain guidelines, they may or may not even know that there are guidelines to be followed. And when you put that into account, when you add to that mix that, as we reported a few days ago, there are colonias or neighborhoods here in Puerto Vallarta that don't even have electricity, then it really allows us to, or gives us the opportunity to ponder about the quality of life that we enjoy when we're living in Emiliano Zapata or Conchas Chinas or Versalles or some of the more comfortable neighborhoods in our city. Just food for thought. Just food for thought for everyone. And let me take a quick look at your comments to date. And before I give you the final headline that I have for you, let's take a look. Chris says, very interesting. Thanks, Paco, for the info. Again, my intention here is not to side with the venue or the Catholic Church. It's just to showcase the fact that we are a divided society in Puerto Vallarta, much more so than other cities in Mexico as far as the relationship between the foreign-speaking community and the local community is concerned. Let us hope that we can continue to find ways to bridge that. Foreign-run businesses should be conducting their business as if they are from Mexico. They are in Mexico. Susan, don't get me started. Let's see. Sean is inviting us to his restaurant, Mama Caguamas, Tacos and Beer. It's been on my list, and I definitely want to get to it at some point in the near future because Sean has been a part of our cluster. And Luna keeps saying to me, Paco, you got to go visit Sean's restaurant, and I will. Let's see what else is going on. The beauty of weather is that it is what it is. It's never up to debate. Thank you very much. I never thought about that, Steve, but I love it. Let's see what else. I don't see any more cues. Mark says, interesting discussion today. Again, I'm not looking for rights or wrongs, Mark. I just find it interesting when we have opportunities to ponder things and to reflect on how we feel or how we think and how we react to news and so forth. The last bit of news that I want to share with you, I will share, but not before asking if you have already signed up to Carmen and Claudia's tamal making class, as I would like to remind you that this is our countdown to El Día de la Candelaria, which is the day in which we are all going to be enjoying tamales. And of course, this is the day in which yours truly will share a brand new special video for our supporting members that has everything to do about how to enjoy tamales here in Puerto Vallarta, where to go, what to look for, how to eat them, so forth and so on. But before we go, you may remember that we laughed at certain King's bread. King's bread usually have baby Jesuses, or plastic baby Jesuses inside of them, and the church cringed somewhat when there was at least a bakery or two that was advertising tamales with baby Yodas inside of them. So, is it possible that somebody has come up with a baby Yoda tamal? You guessed it. There is at least one entrepreneur in Mexico that is selling or plans to sell baby tamal. And I don't know if you're going to get the figurine or if these folks are actually going to go through the trouble of putting plastic baby Yodas inside of the batter or the masa for the tamal. But if you have a baby Yoda fetish, you're going to be able to get a package of 6 tamales and 1 mug for 200 pesos. And there are other variants of this. Needless to say, I don't know that I need to go there, but I figured, well, we're going to be talking about tamales all week. There you have it. And that, my friends, brings us to the end of Coffee and Headlines. As always, we strive to, or thrive, or try to keep things entertaining. We try to raise awareness of important issues, and we try to find common ground when we disagree. I hope you found something useful today, and I hope you were amused or entertained, or maybe your ruffles were feathered. Your feathers were ruffled a little bit. You know, let us just get ruffled from time to time and think about this, that, and the other. But because some of you have to run, I have to run as well. So have a wonderful day today. Stay kind, stay even with your judgment, stay well informed, stay balanced, stay healthy, and last but not least, stay in touch. And I hopefully will see you soon. Have a great day.